Hi, welcome to Watcher DM. I'm Gabriel. Today I am looking over the A3, Dungeon Module A3, Assault on the Aerie of the Slave Lords by Alan Hammock. It's an adventure for character levels 4 to 7. It was published in 1981 by TSR Hobbies, printed in the US of A. I think this is actually, it's like an original. So, I'm going to say I played in this adventure. I did not run this one. I ran A2 and I was prepping to run A4. But this is actually the adventure where we stopped our Old School Essentials campaign in this series. Not particularly because of the contents of this adventure, but the way that it ended felt like a good time to leave, and I think we had our fill of the joys of the A series and OSE, which are not a perfect marriage. Although we did have a good time, good enough that we kept showing up for months and months, but not good enough that we wanted to do it for another month and a half. So, if you like these types of videos, I hope you'll hit the like button. If you want to see more of them, you should subscribe, and if you want to be notified, you should hit the bell icon. Also, if you want to get access to these videos a week early, you can go to my Patreon, patreon.com/watcherdm, where any, priced tier will get you access to the videos a week early. Otherwise, you can go to watcherdm.com and check out any of our books and adventures. But yeah, let's dive in. So, Dungeon Module A3, Assault on the Aerie of the Slave Lords, written by Alan Hammock. I think this one's actually got a bit more art than A1 did. It's not astounding art. It's certainly not bad. I think it's pretty good by most standards. I really like this guy's style, actually. And yeah, some of this art is really, really good. You also get these cool little tactical maps, which I think are pretty neat. Little DM notes section. And then there's a whole section in here, which is Sutterham, which is like the next part of the adventure. So, much like I think the other modules in this series, this was designed for tournament play. And so the tournament section of the adventure has kind of two entrances, right? So, So basically, the way that it works is like if you were in Group A, you would go through, the upstairs. And if you were in Group B, you would go straight to the sewers. And like when you got to the sewers in Group A, that was when it ended. So it's kind of designed to be run differently for different parties. You got your background here, which is, again, huge walls of text. The start, tournament versus non-tournament. Some notes about how it was designed and what you should do with, again, probably too much information or, weight given to the idea of party balance, etc. And then, it talks about the tournament notes and how that's done and what the conditions are for tournament play, which, I would actually be interested in seeing somebody run this as a tournament. I could see myself getting into that, just to see what the exercise of that is. I don't think it would be good necessarily, but it some fun could be had. And you go into the caves. So there's part A, the Caves of Drachensgrab. So these are secret caves that lead to the to Sutterham, right? So Sutterham is this town here, and so you've basically got an entrance here. There's like 4 entrances that you go in and you check out. And they, wind you through this crazy stuff, and eventually you hopefully end up over in Sutterham. Now, realistically, this adventure is relatively, this part of the adventure is relatively, uniform. It is kind of a straight shot. These first 3 entrances here all ultimately lead to one place. So, it says here A, B, A1. Well, B is all of these places because they're all the same. You're lost in some junk for a while, and legitimately, this was our whole experience with A3. We got through this, and we're like, I think we're done. We don't want to play anymore. This seems painfully punishing and not enjoyable. And for reasons like this, like we literally crawled around these areas and discovered that it was meaningless to crawl there. Yeah, we'll get into some more of that. So A and B. So let's go look at what B says, because they didn't put it right after A in the description. Why would they? Right? Oh, they do. Wait a minute, they do? What? So it's, yeah. What are we doing? A, B, A1? Okay, whatever, man. So the good thing about this one is they actually do use some relatively short, like, descriptive text, which is pretty nice. So that's good. Better than the others. In B, it's just a bunch of bullcrap until you get to this one place where there's some, like, salt-like substance on some weird, like, pieces of hide. Ultimately, I think what we figured out is they're supposed to use the pieces of hide as, like, a toboggan to fall down this salt slide. Because if you don't, you hit these mushrooms and this salt, and it casts slow on you for, like, 5 turns or something insane. Yeah, 5 turns. So imagine you start out of this dungeon, you waste a bunch of time trying to find the way to go. And I want to point out here real quick that, like, the thing is a pit trap. It looks like a pit trap. It feels like a pit trap. It is a pit trap. If you don't, like, dodge it, you will just fall down this chute and slide down the salt chute. So you go over the pit trap where there's a door over there, and the door is a false door. It opens to nothing. There's nothing but a wall behind it. Like, just fuck with you kind of rude things to do. You know what I mean? So yeah, as a tournament, I get it. Like, you're trying to waste their time, and, like, I guess. I don't know. It seems really dumb. Mean-spirited. Salt slide is also mean-spirited. You've just gone through all that, and you slide down the salt ramp, and you're slowed for 50 minutes. And it's full. Like, when you get to the bottom, A2 is full of monsters. It's, 10 gnolls or whatever, who all fire their crossbows. And I was playing with a bunch of people who really, really, really don't want to die. So they were being very, very slow about going down there. And I was like, well, I didn't come tonight to do nothing, so I'm going to go down the hole and just deal with the consequences. And I did. My character died. So I grabbed another character, rolled one up. They found me in the next room, which was the Piercer Cavern. So this room has a bunch of piercers in the ceiling. I think we found, we've kind of figured that one out, which was kind of cool. A4 here has Hyenodon feeding time. The Hyenodon was a cool creature. This was actually pretty interesting. And the 4th Gnoll was wearing a Ring of Free Action, which was great. Free Action is dope. The Curtain of Blue Fire. So this room is probably the best room in the whole series. It was interesting. It was a little bit challenging. But basically there is some goo in a pit, and there's like a super narrow walkway, and there's like this big wall of blue fire. But the blue fire is actually just a field of magic force that will strike any character who tries to walk through it for 16 points of electrical damage. So if you walk through after coating yourself in the thick white goo, you'll only suffer half damage. Okay. I think he must have gone light on us then. Oh, yeah, no. And then a character crossing through the fire without touching the bridge, walls, or ceilings will suffer no damage. But all metal on his or her body will be strongly magnetized for 5 turns. So, yeah. So that's the whole thing, is you've got to get across this kind of electrified field with... oh my gosh. Yeah, damn. Interesting. So there's a legendary invisible short sword that's +1 that makes you invisible in the goo. which you only find if you walk across the goo, which you can do if you're wearing the Ring of Free Action, but otherwise, you're not walking through that. Great. Cool stuff. Anyway, A6, let's see, this one here is a hanging rope. I don't think we ever got in there. Hanging from the center of the ceiling is a bare rope. No visible exits to this room. Yeah, I don't think we ever got through that. Oh, right, and that's because in A7, I came up through... Yeah, it's super unclear how this is supposed to work. The map doesn't show it how it actually is, but basically there's like a manhole, and you come up through the hole in the floor, and there's this thing called a stroper, or a storoper, which is a super powerful creature that, I was playing a mage, so I got filleted. So that was my second character that died in this adventure. I rolled up another one real quick, and brought him in. And yeah, 8 is a spiked door. So this one's really, really mean-spirited trap, where to get through the door, so you're in a false room inside of another room, and the room on the outside has spikes pointing into the false room. So if you break out through this door, this secret door, you break into spikes. That's the whole room. And then you get to the throne room. The throne room is cruel. Which is super weird. It's got this like really prescriptive way of running the monster, like the bad guy. The illusion of null god Yinogu on the throne hides Wimple Frump. So there is a gnome illusionist sitting on a throne, making himself look like a null god. There's a bunch of other gnolls in the room and ghouls, and what appears to be an ankylosaur. It isn't. It's a rust monster, so hitting it with your metal weapons will cause your weapons to rust. For no reason, apparently. It's clever, it's interesting, and it's clever. It's also extremely mean-spirited. But yeah, it's kind of cool. We ultimately, I think, beat the monsters in this room, but did not beat Gnome. He got away. The Gnome. So, but yeah, he's got some pretty decent treasure. And then if you complete all of this, you go to the hidden city of Sooterham. Now, this is where we stopped playing, so I'm just going to kind of quickly flip through this and probably talk very little about it, but it's kind of cool. The city has encounter tables, and because of the way that the city is laid out, it feels much more like open, kind of sandboxy. It seems also like it'd be pretty difficult to adjudicate. They have all these places in here with all these shops that are all closed. So, why have them? Money changers, guard patrols, semi-final rounds. So you're getting into the, crazy stuff. And then, so the key to part B, the hidden city. So now we're back into the B's, I guess. Super weird. Main gate, guard towers, slave auction arena. You got the Thieves' Quarter with some taverns. A burly red-faced fighter, Davis, a bully. It's the Tavern Bully. Tavern, Sign of the Waltzing Werebear. It's kind of cool. But yeah, these are just places you can go. Like, there's a flop house, food store, B9, closed. Trinket shop, B10, closed. Food store, B11, closed. So I guess business ain't great in Sooterham. House of Ill Repute, Sign of the Mermaid. House of Ill Repute, Sign of the Rose. Sign of the White Knight. Looks like there's some interesting stuff in some of these. Like, it actually seems like this would be a really interesting place to do some role playing. I might run Sooterham just as a place to be. And yeah, I don't know. I've kind of considered rolling through all these modules and making kind of a revised version just for use in other things and kind of fixing a bunch of what I consider to be issues with them. So if you're interested in that, you should let me know. Sound off in the comments. You got the wealthy quarter, so bunch of bougie crap right there. I think, so this is the tactical map for A3, or like for the A9 room. Yeah, I think this is the Storper. Yeah, and then we've got like this is the room where you slide down in the salt, so you're surrounded by knolls. It's kind of interesting that they put these in here. It's a little wild. And then your Sooderham. So this is coming in from the north. Player notes, DM notes. The Slave Lord's Stronghold is a B59. I think that's pretty much at the center. Let's actually find out real quick. Oh, it's not. It is way up here. Okay, so it's this big one in the corner there. It's cool. And then Home of Wealthy Mercenary Captain, Home of Retired Alchemist, closed. So there's some weird stuff in here. It's kind of like they, like this passed for what was interesting about a place, I guess. I don't know. Not for me. House of Ill Repute, the Wildcat Tavern, the Clever Cudgel, which I kind of like that tavern name. Abandoned Residence, with some stuff in it. Seems kind of interesting. And then you get into part C, the catacombs. So this is the sewers beneath the city and the catacombs, which again is going to be treated, I think, as its own area in terms of the tournament. Or maybe it's a continuation. It might be a continuation of the part B in terms of tournament play. We've got the Guardian area, Pit Trap, the Killer Mimic's Lair, which I kind of like that. I got a Ring of Warmth in there and some treasure. The Hellhound's Hideout, the Minotaur Menace with some extra juge for a Minotaur kind of labyrinth area, which is pretty cool. The Cunning Gelatinous Cube. You love to see that. So anytime you get a gelatinous cube and there's some treasure in it, that's pretty nice. In fact, I'm going to say I think this might be the most treasure-laden part of everything we've seen so far. Grotto of Terror, the Black Lake. There's a Shambling Mound in here. Sinister Snakes. You got a bunch of snakes. Stop. Read this before continuing. If the DM is using this module in a tournament, the party will be defeated in the council chamber of the Slave Lords. C9, the next area. This is necessary because in Module A4, in the Dungeons of the Slave Lords, the party will begin as prisoners of the Slave Lords. Use the tournament version outcome for room C9. If this module is not being used as part of a tournament, then a climactic final battle can ensue. Use the non-tournament version outcome for C9. Instructions will be given at the end of that section to enable the continued adventure into Module A4. So, yeah. I think there's a betrayal. I think that's the pitch here. So that's the tournament version of the outcome. And then you've got the non-tournament version, which includes all these mobs attacking you. Which I think you get the stat blocks for these NPCs. If the party loses this battle and the DM wishes to have them participate in Module A4, you can assume that Madramo has returned and over several days has cast Raise Dead on all slain party members in order to torture and interrogate them. Yay! They will be carefully guarded as described in A4, and the DM may then proceed with that module. If the party wins, congratulations are due. That's quite a group of players there. The Iron Staircase leads up to into Building B59, the Slave Lord's Stronghold in the Hidden City. If the party tries to go this way, they will almost certainly be killed or captured. If they do not, they must still escape the catacombs, the town, and avenge vengeance of the surviving slavers. If the players are to participate in Module A4, the DM should arrange to have them captured at some point and raised if necessary. The prisoners are interrogated and guarded as described in Module A4. So, there is no version of this where you get to A4 without being captured, which, whatever. Like, we knew that. They got recommend slave lord actions. I hate this stuff. How clever do you have to think yourself to be like, this is what the bad guy should do at every turn? This is your Storoper. I got torn apart by one of these. It was great. You got your tournament scoring section. I like that there's only one kind of new monster in this module, too. And yeah, here's your tournament characters. I think these are the items found throughout the adventure. Or maybe these are the weapons and stuff they get. Oh, right, these are the characters all the way through. Okay, cool. And then the Isle of the Slave Lords. So this is Drachenkeep, Sutterham, and the rest of the areas. This is kind of like how A4 sets up. So yeah, that is the whole burrito. There's the ankylosaur that is not an ankylosaur. Interesting stuff in this module. Honestly, of the three that we played, this one has probably the most interesting kind of ideas in it. But I don't know. Tell me what you think. Send out the comments. If you love this stuff, tell me why I'm wrong. But I think the A series probably best left on the shelf for most modern gamers with any sense. And yeah, again, I hope you will hit the like button if you like these videos. I hope you'll subscribe if you want to see more of them. And I will catch you in the next one.